question 6 is about, so all of these questions have the same numbers in them. So they all have a 99.5, some kind of 0.08, and a 5. So we have this 0.08, 99.95, and a 5, 0.08, 99.95, 5, 0.08, 99.995. So like these numbers are all the same. What's different is how they're being used and how they're being structured. So that's what this question is having you check. If we give you all the right numbers, if you can find all the right numbers, can you figure out the right thing to do with them? So let's talk about what it's asking. So Aaron is staying at a hotel that charges $99.95 per night plus tax for a room. A tax of 8% is applied to the room rate, and an additional one-time untaxed fee of $5 is charged by the hotel. Which of the following represents Aaron's total charge? So X in this, in all of these, X is representing the number of nights that Aaron is staying. So they're saying X is that variable. And then we have these numbers about tax and about a room charge and what do they call it? An additional one-time untaxed fee of $5. This one, I think is the easiest place to start. Additional one-time untaxed fee of $5. So this is no matter how many nights Aaron stays. He could stay 30 nights. He could stay 2 nights. He's only getting charged $5 for this, which means that 5 can't be multiplied by anything. It's not multiplied by the number of nights that he's staying. It's untaxed, so it's not multiplied by the tax rate. And so we can go through and we can eliminate any of these answers in which that 5 is being multiplied by anything, because all this is an additional plus $5 at the end, one time only. In this one, the 5's sitting alone out here. Great, that one's a candidate. This one, the 5's sitting alone out here. That one's works. This one, the 5 is going to be multiplied by this 1.08 here. So we know that can't be it, because that 5 is going to be, it's untaxed and it's only one time, it's just $5, that's it. And then in this one, not only is the 5 here going to be multiplied by this 1.08, but it's also going to be multiplied by this X. So this one is not a candidate either. So C and D are not candidates, which leaves us with A and B. All right, so what are we dealing with here? What's the difference? I'd like to look at these answers and say, what's the difference that I'm seeing here? So one big difference is that this one has 0.08 times X. This one has 1.08. And there's something weird about that. Like there's something weird about 1.08 versus 0.08, but let's keep going and see what else is here. X is the number of nights that we stay. The room rate is $99.95 per night. So if I were to say, if it's $99.95 per night, times the number of nights that you stay, you would rate out something that looks like this, 99.95x. That's it. We want to see that somewhere. And we don't see it here. We see this 99.5 plus 0.08x. This 99.5, number one, isn't 99.95, but I think that's a typo. This 99.5 isn't being multiplied by this tax rate at all. It never gets there. It's just 99.5 plus 0.08x. And this one, though, that 99.5 isn't being multiplied by the number of nights that you're staying. That's what we're looking at. And this one, it is 99.95 times the number of nights that you're staying. So what it looks like is that A is not a candidate. I think we can cross this out because the nightly rate never gets multiplied by the number of nights that you're staying. However, there's this weird thing where it's 1.08 instead of 0.08, because isn't it true that 8% is the same thing as 0.08? And you were absolutely right about that. What this equation is saying, is find out your nightly rate, or find out how much money you're spending total for however many nights you're staying. So that's 99.95 times the number of nights that you're staying. Find this thing here. And then you got to add the tax. And the amount of tax that your stay accumulates is 8% of however much you're paying. So you want to take this and you want to multiply it by 0.08. And what you're finding here, this is the tax. Whoops, wrote that X in the funny way. This is the tax. I'm going to pull out a calculator real quick. You probably won't be able to see this on the screen, but I'm just going to do 99. Oops. Sorry, got to turn off the annotations. 99.95 times, and we'll say you're staying for 4 nights. Let's say you stay for 4 nights. So that's times 4. So we're at $399.80 for how much it costs to stay there. Now we got to add the tax. So we're going to multiply it by 0.08. Now we're getting to everything that red rectangle is surrounding. So that's the total amount of cost for those 4 nights, then times 0.08, which is the tax. And the result is, get my annotations back up. I already forget it and I close my calculator, but it was, I'm pretty sure, equals 39.8, something like that. Which means that $39.81. What does that look like? Does that look like how much it costs to stay at this hotel for 4 nights? No, this is, you're figuring out the tax. That's the tax that you have to pay. To get the total cost for staying there, you have to take that and then add in the 99.95x. In this case, that would be 4. The x would be 4. So instead of doing that, what this equation is suggesting to you is to add in, to take this 0.08 and make this 1.08. And that means take, you're finding that 8%, but instead of finding you're finding 108%. You're instead of finding the 8% and then adding it back onto the total cost for the room, you're just figuring it out all at once. You're saying 8%, it's 100% of how much you're paying. So that's $399. And then an additional 8%, which is $39.81, or whatever that was. Again, I closed my calculator. I shouldn't have done that, but I wanted to get the video moving anyway. So that's what brings us to this answer 8 here, or sorry, this answer B here. So let's look down below, see if we're missing anything in the view correct answers. So choice B is correct. We were right. So choice A includes only 1 night stay in the room and doesn't accurately account for tax in the room. And what they're saying is that 9.95 was never multiplied by the number of nights that you stay. They explained it really weird because what they're saying is that you're calculating the tax of the number of nights. And all that you really need to know is that, like, that's not the numbers that should be multiplied together. Choice C isn't the right answer. The expression includes tax on the fee. So this is at the beginning when we were saying that's one time, untaxed, $5. And that's not C. C doesn't fall into that category. And then D has the same problem where you're taxing the fee. So what do we learn here? So what our learning points for this problem are, you have all the right numbers. All of these answers have the same numbers, and they're just using them in different combinations. And you, like, the learning point here is paying attention to how the combinations are formed. Make sure that if you have something per night, make sure that it's being multiplied per night. Make sure if something should not be multiplied, that it's not being multiplied. And then there's that side point of like percentages. If you want to say an additional 8%, you can do the same, like 100% of something plus 8% of something is the same as 108% of that thing. Cool. That's question 2. Question 6.